Welcome, everyone. I'm so thrilled that you're here with us today. This is Virginia Parsons, your Hangout mentor and the host of the Inspirational Business Women Show, where it is my passion and my purpose to provide you, the viewer, with a gold mine of entrepreneurial tips, strategies, and advice to grow your business from inspirational business women in the know. And I love gathering with you all here every week. It's really a special time for me. You know, I really desire to create a real collaborative of our inspirational sisters and brother entrepreneurs. So I'm honored that you're taking the time to be here today. And please go ahead and share with us in the comments section your name, where you're hanging out from, and a little bit about what you do. What is your passion? What inspires your life? We'd love to find out about you, and this is a great way for all of us to connect and get to know one another. Also, I want to point out that we do have an after show, and in the after show gives you an opportunity to come inside and meet our special guests and give me a chance to get to know you. So I will be posting the link to the after show at the end of the broadcast, and I sure hope that you will take a little time to come on in and say hi. We just love that. And the reason I do the after show after I've stopped the broadcast is so that you can feel comfortable just coming on in and saying hi. You don't have to worry about being in the live broadcast at that point. So anyway, thank you so much. I'm just thrilled that you're here today. And we just have a wonderful topic. I'm just thrilled to be able to introduce you to someone who has lived what she's teaching, and that is Janice Stephanus. And I want you to know a little bit about her because it's a really interesting and what I think very uplifting story that she's going to share with us. We're going to be talking about divine healing and the transformational power of love. And we all have experienced this in our lives, I know. But you know, some have really taken it to a whole nother level and discovered even more about the power of love. And Janice is one of those people. She is a divine healer, and she is the founder of the Global Institute for Love-Aligned Spiritual Enrichment. And isn't that just beautiful and juicy in of itself? Spiritual enrichment, love-aligned spiritual enrichment. She's going to be talking to us about that today. And she's also going to share with us why events happen. You know, events do happen for a reason. And she discovered that with love, darkness fades. And those events are very powerful in the process of discovery. She's also going to talk to us about making sense of uncertainty and chaos in our life that might be holding us back from being all we can be. And finally, how about how to find deeper meaning in our lives? And I think that's a question we've all asked many, many times. How can I provide more value in what I do? How can my life be more meaningful? Well, Janice is going to share with us what she's discovered about that and how we can do the same. So Janice, please come on and say hi to our audience. I know they're just waiting with bated breath to see you and learn all that you know.
Well, thank you, Virginia, and thank you all for being here. I am just honored to be your guest today and to share this insight and share the journey I've traveled, because I hope and I pray that it helps you if you're in the midst of the same thing that I was going through. I just pray that this helps you as well. I sure wish I would have had this information when I was at the beginning of my journey and had to make sense of what was going on in my life.
Well, you know what? As you say, there is meaning to this chaos and uncertainty and some of the darkness that we go through and some of life's challenges. Now, you had said that you had a very lucrative career. You made more than the average person does, and you were a single mom supporting a child at this time, and you had to make a really tough decision. So the reason I like to bring this up, Janice, is because people, all of us, struggle. We all have our challenges, right? They're there for a purpose, but it's really nice to hear about what other people work through and how they come out on the other side transformed. So I'm going to let you take it away and share with our audience what your experience was and why you decided to leave that lucrative job and the journey it took you on. So go ahead.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Yeah, my career actually it began in the corporate world. So have been working in the corporate world, gosh, for about 25 years of my experience. It was mixed between the beginning of the corporate world and 14 years in the entrepreneurial world. And when this life-shattering event happened, I was just devastated. I was rocked to my core, and what happened is I had some betrayal happening in the company I was working at, and it impacted my clients and impacted the reputation of the company I was working for, and I was just rocked to my core by this betrayal, and I really couldn't understand and make sense of what was happening. And I was, at the time I was very driven. I was the overachiever MBA, making $20,000 a month. And as Virginia shared, I was a single mom, so very significant. And when this happened, though, I couldn't reconcile, and I didn't know how to, just make sense of this. And so when I decided that I had to leave because I just couldn't just continue to work for this company, because if I did, I just felt like I would be staying for a paycheck, and that was completely meaningless. But the benefit of when this happened, when this event shattered my life out from under me, is it allowed me to take a serious look at my life. And when I stopped long enough to pause and just really look at what I wanted in my life and where I wanted in my future, I realized this wasn't it. And what I thought was success wasn't success at all. So when I started my journey, I really didn't know where I was going. I didn't have a plan B. But I left that, and I just started looking for love and meaning and forgiveness. And when I went on my journey, I kind of wandered for about the first 10 years. And then I had another major event happen that really catapulted the transformation in my journey. And when that happened, everything stopped working. And I had to stop long enough again to really finally decide, am I going to really make this change? Because I continued working, trying to do the same thing, and it stopped working. So I had to completely just stop and listen to God and go the direction He was guiding me in. And then that's when I realized that I was a divine healer. And when I really let go of all of the layers that I hid behind, I started beginning to waking up to the fact that I had these divine abilities to connect with God and to channel His healing. And that's when I realized I could connect into the subconscious mind and understand my fears and beliefs. And when I did, oh my gosh, I realized what had been running my life and the chaos that was happening just because of the beliefs and fears that I had. And so when I was able to go in and heal these, I was able to stop that inner battle that I had, where I had fears and beliefs about who I was and the success that I could have, and mostly that I wasn't lovable. And that's what really was the thing that I had to break through. I thought I was this overachieving perfectionist, had to do all this stuff, really be driven. But when I broke through my hard shell, I realized it was just because I didn't feel lovable, and I was trying to prove to myself and the world that I was lovable. So when I was able to heal these fears, I could just let all that go and become who I really was. And that's when I really woke up into my divine self.
Wow. Well, so that was a long journey. That was not short, was it?
No, it was a long journey. It was about 15 years. It started over 16 years ago total. So yeah, it was a long journey. A dark journey.
Well, now let's talk about the darkness a bit, because you really do express a feeling of value for that dark period. Could you expand on that for everyone?
Yeah, the period was valuable because that's what allowed me to finally let go. That's when I really looked at and realized that these layer upon layer upon layer were hiding who I was. And if I didn't have that darkness, I never could have found the beauty that I have in my life today. And by experiencing God's divine love and the grace of His healing, it's just such a blessing to be able to share that with people. And had I not broken through all that, if I had such a good life, and if I had been happy doing what I was doing, and if I didn't have that life-altering event, I would be on that same path. And it really took that life-shattering event and the others that came through in my life to really crack open that hard shell of who I was, and to just allow me to let that go. So I do value the darkness, because and it was in the darkness actually that I was actually on my knees begging God to just take this from me, that I just couldn't do it anymore. And I said, give me somebody that's gone through this before me so they can take my hand and lead me out of the darkness, because I didn't know how to get out of the dark. And that's when I started waking up to what my divine mission was. And He's like, what you don't understand is you have to learn how to do this, because it's your job to take other people by the hand and lead them out of the dark into the light. So that's when I really had to start creating all of the ways that made me come out of my journey and into the success that I've experienced today. And so through that, I created my 12 breakthrough strategies that have been the foundation of my work now. But so it was that darkness that really gave me the blessing that I have now.
Well, that's a great way of looking at it, and I think that there's so many people who can truly get lost in the darkness, that the pain becomes so deep it's almost all-consuming. And when you're in that place, you don't, and I think we've all, to some degree or other, gone through similar situations where you just feel like you don't have the answers, they're not coming to you, everything feels bleak, and you're just wondering if you're ever going to find a way out of that. And as a result, people do get lost in that, don't they? So you were praying for guidance, thinking that the guidance would come from someplace outside of you in a way. Like you were looking for the source to guide you out, if I'm understanding you correctly. And what came back to you was that you are your own divine healer, and to learn that you needed to experience the darkness in order to be able to help guide others, even though even they need to find their own path out. But at least you have a little bit of steps that they can now take, that because you went through this. Have I grasped this correctly, or do you want to add to that?
No, that's beautiful. It's so perfect. That's true. And that's why I'm grateful to share this, because if you're in the darkness, there is a way out, and you're not alone. To Virginia's point, we have experienced, so many of us have experienced this, and I think right now we are in an even, times seem like they're accelerating, and this is becoming more and more important as our times change. And it seems like a lot of people are starting to wake up and realize that their lives shifting, and they're not sure what direction to take. So this, I think, is very timely.
Oh, absolutely. And, I just feel like people are open to receiving this information, or it wouldn't be coming out in a much more recognizable way. I think that the more we offer this sort of thing up, which, some people will say this is kind of woo-woo and I'm not into this, well, that's fine. But open your mind to the essence of what Janice is talking about, that the divine healing that took place for her even though she worked pretty darn hard at getting through this darkness and really discovering that with love, darkness fades, she had to experience the darkness first. So I think it is timely, Janice, and I think we also have a lot of people who are still kind of struggling and lost. They know there's something better for them. They know that there's more meaning to their life, but they haven't quite figured out how to discover what it is for them. So let's expand on that. How did you do that for yourself? A few more details, because if you came up with 12 breakthrough strategies, you know, some of that had to come from your own work, right?
Oh, it came from all my own work. Well, that and God.
Yes.
Definitely connecting to God.
The partnership there, yeah.
Yeah, definitely collaboration. And we all have that ability. It's all by going within that we can, you know, understand and connect with that inner knowledge that we all have. But yeah, so do you want to dig into I guess the number one reason why these events happen, and that kind of will give us a way into one of the strategies that I wanted to teach today?
Absolutely. What is the number one reason these events happen?
The number one reason is actually to wake us up. And as I shared, if I did not have this happen, I would not have changed directions. So this is to wake us up and to really take a serious look at our lives, because there's a great chance that you're on the wrong path, and this is trying to tell you, get your attention to say it's time to change directions. So when we have this opportunity, and I know this is a really difficult time, though. It's a difficult time. There's so much chaos. There's so much calamity. Our earth has just shattered beneath us, and it's really hard to pick up the pieces. So I understand this because I lived it. I wallowed in it for a long time, and I'm hoping to shorten that time frame for you, because you don't have to do this for 10 years. And it's just understanding and being open and allowing to consider that there is something else you're supposed to be doing, and then taking a look to go deeper and understand what that is. So when we get this opportunity to wake up and we get to that crossroad, you know, we all have the opportunity to change or stay in the same way we are. And that's the free will that we're graced with. So if you just try to step back and be as objective as possible and let go of the emotions, and then just look at what's going on in your life to try to make that decision. And I'll give you, in a little bit, I'll share with you a 3-step process I have to gain clarity, and then that will help you kind of try to step away from that chaos and uncertainty. And I know this is a lot of fear can be happening in your life right now too, so it'll help you kind of step away from that long enough to, you know, make a clear decision, and to just allow the beauty that for whatever this is, this greater reason is that, you know, God's trying to get your attention and wake you up. Just allow that to unfold, and then, of course, participate by trying to make sense of it.
So what I like about this is the idea of an awakening. You know, we talked about awakening in our topic last week, too, because it's all part of it. And it is, when you're asleep, sometimes you need to feel like a sledgehammer hits you to wake you up, because you're just in a trance state and sort of going through your life and going through the motions and feeling like you're doing what you have to do to grow your business and support your family and do all the things that we do in our society. But you had 2 awakenings, really, if you talk about the first one when you left your $20,000 a month job, which a lot of people would say, are you kidding me? How could you walk away from that? But the pain that came with that made that first decision, then you had another awakening later on that said you're still off track. So would you also say that these awakenings are a way of shifting your trajectory because you're off path?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I think we're all given little course corrections, and I think, you know, if we're paying attention, the course corrections can be minor, but if we, to your point, if we stay asleep like I was, then we have to get serious. God has to get serious and say, okay, I've tried to guide you with these little things. You're not listening. You know, I wasn't paying attention to that little voice inside me. So I had to have, unfortunately, several. It wasn't just 2. I'm stubborn. I'm a Taurus. So,
Okay, takes a little more. Okay.
yeah. So, and I had such a hard shell of protection. I was so determined. Everything, my whole identity was, as so many of us, was attached to my career. My MBA, my undergraduate, everything, and I was a continuous learner. So everything was attached to it. It's hard when you literally have to let go of one identity completely and step into another. So it was just, yeah, it was a big transformation.
Wow. Okay. Well, everyone, if you feel like something just hit you like a brick the side of the head, that's metaphoric, by the way. It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up, pay attention, and ask the question. And I think the other thing you pointed out that's so important is that even though it's difficult because you're in it and emotionally the fear drives a lot of your behavior, to give yourself permission to step back and look at it almost from an observer's perspective. It might even be that you walk away from your own point of view and change your position, literally walk to another viewpoint and take a look from there in order to put yourself out of the emotional context of the situation into the observer who can receive that information. What is it I'm really supposed to be doing, or how do I need to make an adjustment in my life?
Yeah, that's so important. And what I would share is to make sure that you love yourself. So wherever you are, just love where you are and appreciate that you are where you are for a reason. And yeah, I wasn't listening and I wasn't making my corrections, I guess, quick enough. But I still appreciate everything that I went through. And for me, learning how to love myself was the toughest lesson of everything that I went through. But when I finally got to the point where I was able to love myself and just allow what is to be what is, and this is what's happened, and let go of the past, and of course it's easy to do after you've done a lot of healing. I know that can be hard for some to, just really let that go, but that's so important to just really allow yourself to be where you are, accept it with grace, and know that today's a new day and you can move on and change wherever you want to go in the future. And of course, listening to, and I'll give you this step here, it's process in a second, but when you're able to use this information to help guide you, then you can make the better decisions to get there. But yeah, do it with love, though. Just love yourself, I guess, is the really thing. And that is the big lesson I learned, that with love, darkness fades. So the more we can love ourselves and allow love into whatever we're going through, even though it's so dark, there's always a glimmer that we can find, that gold nugget, whatever it is that we can attach to that has love in it, and that is so critical in your journey.
Well, with this statement, I just have to share what I shared with you a little bit ago about the transformational power of love and how it helps you move beyond resistance. Many of you know that I just celebrated a birthday this weekend, and thank you for all of you who sent me birthday wishes. I so appreciate it. That's such a loving feeling to receive that, and thank you. I was doing a bathtub meditation on my birthday, and as I was doing this, I was realizing that I was resisting this idea of aging. And I was saying to Janice, I would be considered an elder at this point in our society, and I kept thinking about, oh, gee, do I want to grow older? Our society is so youth-oriented. And I finally stopped. I said, wait a minute. I choose from this point on to fall in love with my age. And as soon as I made that decision to fall in love with my age and all that it represents and all that it offers and all that it is right here and right now, all the resistance faded. And I felt exactly what you were talking about, the transformational power of love on any topic. If you're resisting it, you need to look at it again from another perspective, and it probably needs to include love in the formula. So I just feel so free now. I will have birthday after birthday and celebrate them wholeheartedly and fall in love with my age. And so I just wanted to share that example with everyone. And you can find those areas in your life where you're resisting in some way and say, how can I shift that resistance into a place of love? And you just might experience what I experienced, which was a huge relief, a huge burden off of worrying about birthdays and suddenly saying, I love my age. So I wanted to share that with you.
That's so Janice, beautiful. I love that.
Let's talk about finding the deeper meaning then in life. And in not even in life, that's such a big one. How about the deeper meaning in some of our day-to-day work and in our businesses?
Yeah, so well, to understand the the chaos, and then to get to that the deeper meaning of what's happening, so then you can move it then out into your life. The process that and I have a free gift that I created for you, so I'll tell you at the end how you can get that free gift. So that process will be in there. So if we don't get time to cover it all, because it looks like we're kind of getting lower on time, but if we don't get to cover it all, it is in very detailed in the free gift that I have for you. But when you again, when you want to try to make sense of what's going on and get away from the chaos and uncertainty, there's a 3-step process for clarity that I have. I want just take the time to first, you want to just get still and of course let go as much as you can. Emotionally detach everything and just be willing to allow and consider new ideas to come in. But the first thing you want to do to gain clarity to what the chaos is, and make sense of these events, is just write down, think about the last 5 to 10 years, and then write down every event that altered your life, good or bad. Sometimes it's a person that's come into our life that's had a great idea and it changed the way we, changed the direction we were going in. Or sometimes a relationship ends and it's a loss that, is really hard. Sometimes it's just a loss of trust, again, or betrayal like what I had. So whatever that is, just write it all down and understand and respect the events. So, if it is a time of loss, make sure you go through that loss. Don't put on the brave face like I always did. I was so afraid of feeling my feelings. I would just put on a brave face and I would stuff everything down inside me. Worst thing I could have done. The important thing is to allow and feel and express everything that you're going through. It's natural, it's human, and that is loving yourself. So just go through it, allow that loss to be experienced, and then go through each event. Here you just want to list them all out. And then in the second step, you want to go back and look over that list and pick the top 5 events that made the biggest difference in your life. And here you want to go deeper and start thinking about what these events were. So, these events, I have 3 questions that, basically I have that you'll answer for each of the 5 major events. But basically it's understanding deeper what was going on in your life at that time that event happened. What changes did you make, and ultimately what was the ultimate outcome. So just kind of going deeper and digging into that, and that would help you a lot. So kind of just maybe allow your thoughts to start working on that. And then the last step, and this is where it gets into the deeper meaning, is to determine how these relate to your life's greater purpose, to your life's greater mission, And once you're able to connect all of these puzzle pieces, because all the insight that you're getting, all of them are puzzle pieces. So once you're able to connect these puzzle pieces together, you're able to start forming a greater, bigger picture. So if you step back and you look at all this insight from this broader perspective, and again, as detached as possible, you'll begin to see deeper, the deeper meaning of what it all is, and it'll help you make those decisions that you may be finding difficult to make right now. So just really allowing that information to connect and to become more, to take on a life, if you will, because that's what it is. It's trying to create a bigger picture. We all have life lessons that we come here to learn. And if we don't learn it, it's going to keep repeating, but it's going to have a different wrapper around it. So it'll look different, but ultimately when you get down to the core of it, it was to teach us the same thing. And if we don't learn that lesson, again, it's going to keep happening until you learn it. So the best thing is to now try to make sense of what this chaos is, so you can learn that lesson and move on from it. And then when you're able to start connecting this information, it can help start shaping what that bigger mission is for your life. And as time goes on, you'll keep adding information to it, and you'll keep getting a bigger and bigger picture.
Well, I like that idea, because so often we segment these what I would call fairly profound moments in our lives. Mm-hmm. And instead what you're doing is bringing them together and having you look at them individually but then as a whole and see maybe that there's a theme running through them. And to first, I like that you're honoring it, you're honoring the experience. It was of experience of value, I guess is the way I would put it. So you're honoring it. Yeah, and that is, first of all, changing, as you say, the wrapper, because you're now adding love to the picture where you might not have before, just by honoring it. And then by observing, as you said, reviewing the five most predominant events and go into them in a deeper level and what you did as a result or how you shifted as a result and what the outcome was. So now, as you say, you're really looking at it as part of your true life story. And then you went into how that relates to your greater mission. That's the part I think can get a little tricky. What do you think about that? How do you really know that as a result of reviewing all these events, you're able to discover a greater mission in life?
Well, when you look at this information, you'll start seeing patterns, you'll start seeing themes. So you will have to go in deep within you and just listen. And I don't know, what your meditation practices are, or how you can, commune with this higher intelligence. So I call it God, but I do honor that other people don't. Completely be open to allow whatever this higher intelligence is to give you information. I think if we were going to look at it from just our human, normal perspectives, I wouldn't have been able to. What God taught me about my mission and how He's taught me to help. That's a service I do now. Is understand your life's greater mission is one of my services. How He taught me how to do that, I don't think we can do it. I couldn't have done it on my own without this divine work. So, but when you're able to look at this information, you can start seeing the pictures and the patterns, and then you can ask yourself the deeper questions. Ask God in your prayers. God will answer us. I do active imagination journaling, and I don't know if you're familiar with that, but that was created a long time ago. Oh, it's beautiful. It's a great way to get answers. And you really have to step back from the ego, though. That's the important thing, because you want to be able to connect to this higher intelligence to get your answers. But Carl Jung created this process a long time ago. And it's a conversation that you have. So you would write, in my journal, I write me, : and I'll be like, God, this event happened in my life. Help me understand what's the greater meaning for it, and what does this mean for my life overall? And so whatever your questions are, ask. And then God will say, of course I always start, God, do you have time to talk? Or I used to. And He'll say, of course. But so the next thing you want to write God, : or whoever your higher source is. And then you write their response. You just listen, and you'll be amazed. When you go back later, you'll know that was not you coming through. When I go back and I read my journaling, the insight I get is astounding. And so you just continue this conversation to get the answers that you're seeking that are right here. Your answers are right there. And when you actually tap in and connect to your intuition, to this higher intelligence, you'll be able to get it. So just continue and ask. You can ask anything. God says in the Bible, ask me, test me, and He'll respond. So that's the greatest
beautiful.
way.
I love that process. I guess I have heard of that process. I just didn't know it was termed that. But the point being is that it's an active conversation.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're letting it flow. I love that. So all of you know that you have some great tools that Janice has already shared with us, some steps to help you move from these places of challenge and darkness into a place of understanding and love, and transforming the experience into something that's going to provide you with a bigger sense of mission and purpose in your life. And I love that. So Janice, would you like to share with everyone how they can get more information from you and actually get the details on this 3-step process?
Yeah. My thank you, Virginia, for having me, and thank you guys all for coming. I appreciate it, and I appreciate so much the opportunity to give you this information, and I hope that and pray that it helps you on your journeys so you can move out of this darkness faster that you may be experiencing. But my website is Global Institute for Love, and let me put up my new banner. Does that work?
Yes.
Yeah, globalinstituteforlove.com. And when you go to that site, you can receive the free gift. So there's you'll see an image on the right of my website that you can click on, and that'll allow you to sign up to register to receive my free gift. And then also, if you go through all this and you're still having trouble and you're in the dark, don't stay in the dark. Let me give you a hand. I have on my website also a link that you can sign up for a free consultation, and I would be happy to spend time with you to help you understand this. So just sign up for, you know, a love-aligned consultation, and we can just get that set up for you and help you through this. So I hope that you'll receive these free gifts from me. It was a pleasure creating them. And but yeah, just go to my website, globalinstituteforlove.com, and just sign up, and you'll automatically be sent the information, and it'll be.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you for creating that gift, and I know it was created out of love. We're going to go stop the broadcast in a moment, but I do want to acknowledge a few people who've been sharing their thoughts with us. Let's see. Cynthia, always wonderful to see you here. She's talking about, wow, attachments to who we are instead of being who we truly are. Great insights.
Amen.
Thank you. And let's see. We have Lynn. How are you, Lynn? We always love having you here as well. These are two people that are very connected to the meaning and the power of love as well. Lynn is saying, love the inside of looking at the information to see the lesson. So thank you, gals. I really appreciate your feedback on this. So we are going to stop the broadcast in a moment. And, well, right before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and actually post the link for you to join us inside. Please do. I would love to see you and say hi, and I know that Janice would as well. So while I'm doing this, Janice, do you have any final words or thoughts for our audience?
Well, again, the biggest thing I can stress, because this is something that I had to learn the hard way, and because, again, I didn't love myself. You know, I went through all of this trauma as a child that really caused me, we block in so much of our fears. 70% of our fears and beliefs are created before we're 7 years old, so way too young to discern. So if you had a traumatic childhood, that, you know, creates a very unstable foundation, you know, for you to build your life upon. So we outgrow those, you know, we create those to be safe, and eventually they outgrow us, and, you know, it creates havoc in our life, and, you know, we need to, you know, get rid of those. So wherever you are, again, I just want to stress to love where you are and who you are, and know that, you know, there's so much going on inside you that you just may not realize is there. And, you know, for me, it was like a major fight going against all these beliefs and fears that I had that were conflicting in my life. So you just have to give yourself grace and know that you're just doing the best you can, and then just continue to move forward, and just always appreciate and respect yourself, and honor that you are who you are for a reason. And yeah, maybe you need to change directions, but just honor where you are, and always remember that with love, darkness fades.
Oh, that's a beautiful way to end the show. With love, darkness fades, the transformational power of love, and give yourself permission to love yourself first. So thank you so much, Janice.
Thank
you.
And
to all of those that are with us live, please come join us in the after show and say hi to Janice and myself. And for those of you watching in the replay, thank you for taking the time to be here today. And we still care about your questions, your comments. So put those in the comment section when you're watching in the replay. And also, I will be posting Janice's site for you so that you can go and take advantage of her free gift. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a terrific week, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye now.